all around the world.
Jihad does not mean any war fought by any Muslim. Jihad basically means to strive to struggle. The Hindus and the Muslims will be united. He is not cosmic energy, he is more superior than that. Quran gives you the solution to the problems of humankind. Not that we shall despise each other. That according to Japan, India will be the superpower of the world. We will be a superpower, will be far superior to the Americans. Alhamdulillah. Wassalatu wassalam ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi ashabi ajmain. Amma ba'd. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Wa man ahsanu qawlan mimman da'a ila Allahi wa amila salihan qala innani minal muslimin. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. I welcome all of you with Islamic greetings. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May peace, mercy and blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be on all of you. You're most welcome to ask any questions on Islam and comparative religion. So brothers and sisters have any questions, they're most welcome. Yes, brother.
Assalamu alaikum. I recently visited for Umrah and I have some observation. So could you please tell me about this? I find that over there a lot of luxurious type of thing is been pushed up instead of a very neat and clean environment. Like a lot of luxurious things. The hotel charge is fantastic, like 800 riyals per day, which any ordinary city in the world will not have that type of situation. So Islamic, is there any step taken to this extravagant luxuries and all that? Because every Muslim has the right to go to this place. And if the things are put to the right channel, many people will take the advantage of this. Is there any concrete attention is given to these issues? Because there is a lot of extravagant expenses and other things which should be not there in a holy place like Mecca. And even if you see in India, there is in any other religion, they have this thing, Musafir Khana, or a place where people can say a normal, at very economical rates and all that. So why don't you put some efforts to this?
He was asked the question that when he went for Umrah, he found that the rates of per day in staying in hotels very exorbitant, say 800 riyals, which is very high. Brother, let me tell you one thing. I do agree. The rates are only high during the season. During the month of Hajj, during Hajj period is very expensive, and during the month of Ramadan. These two are the only times when the rates escalate. Well, that's the time when more pilgrims come to the holy city of Makkah and Medina. Otherwise, in off-season, it is one of the cheapest in the world. 800 riyal, what we're talking about the peak season. So the rates in hotels close to the Haram is one of the most expensive in the world and one of the cheapest in the world. 800 riyal is nothing. What we're talking about 800 riyal is about a 5-star hotel. So 800 riyal comes to about 10,000 rupees. So if you take the rates of the 5-star hotel close to the Haram, where the Makkah, Medina, in off-season, it is the cheapest in the world. Cheapest in the world, I'm telling you that. You can even stay for 150 riyals. 2,000 rupees, no 5-star hotel you'll get. Even for 1,000 rupees, off-season, 125 riyals, I'm telling you that. 5-star hotels. But in season, 2,000, 3,000 riyals, which becomes the most expensive in the world. Your question should have been Umrah, it should have been Hajj. Umrah is normally done in off-season. Except if you're Umrah during Ramadan. That time, during the last 10 days, it's sometimes even more expensive than Hajj season. But during the other times of Umrah, it is very cheap. A poor person can even stay in a 5-star hotel during off-season, if you want to do Umrah. Now coming to your question, during Hajj season, why is it expensive? I fail to realize that according to me, after seeing the facility the Saudi government has given for Hajj, I'm saying because of the Saudi government, it is even possible for a very poor man to do Hajj. The facility the Saudi government gives, if you see the Haramain, both the Haramains, the facility they have, the toilets they have provided. Imagine more than 2 million people coming for Hajj at one time during Ramadan, and the facility they have in toilet. They have put Italian marble in toilet. Poor people don't get to live in Italian marble. In toilet they have put Italian marble. They have got escalators, and they take only a few riyals. So as far as the airfare is concerned, number one, the government subsidizes the airfare. Now because the Saudi government has subsidized the rate for the Saudi airlines, the other airlines for competition, they are forced to subsidize. So even the non-Muslim airlines are subsidizing now. Why? Because Saudi Arabia started that. So Saudi Arabians say that if you're coming for Umrah or for Hajj, we give 25% discount. Sometimes they give 40% discount. Now because Saudi airline does that, the other airlines are forced to do it. So they aren't bothered about the Muslims. But if they don't do, then they lose business. So they say prefer let the rate come down and we have more flights. So they subsidize. Actually, they're making business. But if you normally have to go to Saudi Arabia, it will cost you 29,000 rupees. Normal fare up and down from Bombay. During Umrah and Hajj, it costs 21,000. Subsidized. 1/3. So first point number one, that fare is subsidized. Point number two, the facility given by government, the tax the government takes for Umrah is negligible. That's subsidized. As far as staying is concerned, eating is very cheap. Eating, you get all types of food. MashaAllah, very cheap. Pakistani food, this food, that food, fast food, everything. Now staying, what you're talking about the rates is the hotel is very close to the Haramain. Now if your budget doesn't provide you, you take a hotel which is far. I know even during Hajj season, there are hotels which are costing 50 riyals a day. So whether you're staying close to the Haramain, whether 5-star hotel or small hotel, even if you take close to the Haramain, the cost of the land is expensive. The cost of land is expensive. So even if it's not a 5-star hotel, it's expensive. If you stay in a hotel close to the Haram, even if it's not 5-star, if it's not 1,000 riyal, it will at least be 400 riyals. You understand? Because the land is expensive. Now why the land is expensive? Because it's close to the Haram. So the moment a poor man, when he goes, he can very well take a hotel which is half a kilometer away or 1 kilometer. What's the problem? And the facility of the government is so good that you can spend the full day in Haram without any problem. So we should thank the facilities given by the government that it is even possible for a poor man to perform Hajj. Otherwise, if there was no facilities, only the air ticket, because now you can do Hajj even 50,000 rupees. You understand? So only the air ticket cost about 29,000-30,000 with the airport tax 30,000. It's because of the package. So if you go in a group, if you go as an individual, it will be expensive. If you have the money, Allah has given you the money, you can go as an individual, stay in a 5-star. So there are trips going for Hajj for 1 month. So 1 month you're living, lodging, boarding, everything for 30,000 rupees is dirt cheap. 1,000 a day you're paying actually. For traveling internal, Jeddah to Makkah to Medina and back, where will you get? 1,000 a day. If you go to America and you want to spend 1,000 a day, when you go to SOTC trips, they're so expensive. So if you compare that with the Haram, for 30 days average, you are spending less than 1,000 rupees. Sometimes you're spending 800 rupees, including traveling, including eating, including staying in a good hotel close to the Haram. There are cheap tours which will cost you only hardly 600 rupees a day. Now 600 rupees a day for eating, staying and traveling is very cheap in a foreign country. It is mentioned in the Quran that when you're going for Hajj, you take some cloth in India which is not available there. You can very well take that cloth, sell it. And the government gives you permission. So while you're doing Hajj, many people do it free because they take stuff and they spend a few hours a day selling it and they recover the cost. People even make money. So that is no problem. So in Hajj, if you cannot afford it, you can even do business. You can take some material and sell it. Then many people do it. Many of the people, they get material. So these are the facilities given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran and by the government. You have to appreciate. Now to say that why do they charge doesn't make sense. Even a poor man can go. And there are more poor people coming for Hajj than rich people. More poor people are coming for Hajj from different parts of the world. They do the saving and alhamdulillah, they have to thank. So all the types of facilities there in the Haramain, whether Makkah, Medina, big hotels are there, cheap hotels are there. There are Jamaat Khanas also. There's Bhori Jamaat Khana, there are Aga Khani Jamaat Khana. There are several, so many Musafir Khanas are there. If you don't know about it, that's your problem. There are many Musafir, not only in the Haram, even in cities. In Bombay, the Musafir Khana Hajj committee is going to the dogs. It's just lying vacant. Who's to blame? You are to blame. One thing is there that you have to realize that you go and tell the Saudi government, why did you put tile marble in the toilet? They want to give you free. So you should go and tell the Saudi government, why did you put tile marble in the toilets? How many people live in tile marbles? So alhamdulillah, they want to serve the Haji because they feel that serving the Haji gives you barakah. Now when you do a trip from Jeddah to Medina and back, in the bus, they charge you 130 riyal, which is not possible. 150 riyal is only for going and coming. How is it possible? Then I inquired. They came to know there are many rich people who say that whatever the cost is, we'll pay half. So when you're paying 130 riyal, which for 3 days going to Medina and coming back with the air-conditioned bus, the normal bus fare when you go is 150 riyals. How can they have 130? It doesn't make sense. So when I inquired, they told me that whatever the cost is, 50% is paid by rich people. They say we want to subsidize it. So if they want to subsidize it, why go in air-conditioned bus? But if the rich people, they want to spend their money in serving the Hajis, alhamdulillah. So there's some rich man who is subsidizing. Some people come and tell me, you know, Ibn Qasir is so cheap, why it's expensive? Because the rich people in Ramadan, what they say, whatever the cost is, we'll pay half. So if the cost is approximately 8,000 rupees, or it is 6,000 rupees, they say we'll pay half. So you get 3,000 rupees Ibn Qasir. It is subsidized by somebody. So when they want that, let the Hajis get facilities, let the people who come for Ramadan get facility. So why are you objecting? If you don't want it, don't take it. So don't go in the tour, you can go individually. So the thing is that the facility given by the people out there, alhamdulillah, because they respect the Hajis, alhamdulillah, we have to appreciate that. And we have to say that, mashallah, you can stay in a good hotel also, sometime at cheap rate. Sometime if you don't have the money, you can stay in a cheap hotel. Or if you have the money, you can stay in the season in expensive hotel. Hope that answers the question.
I think now of
Arcot is.
he has dedicated a building and the people can go and stay free down there. And I think even Nizam of Hyderabad has done it. Maybe
he's not aware. Brother adding more information is right that Nizam of Hyderabad at that time he used to give zakat to Saudi Arabia. No? Nizam of Hyderabad, they used to send zakat. They used to send money to Saudi Arabia, and now it is the opposite. So they have got many of their own places to stay, which is free. But again, that's limited. So maybe the place, the room may be 50 or 100. So booking is there, so people are staying free. There are many people live in Nawab of Arcot of Madras. He has got his own place where people can go and stay there free. There, even Abhori says and has got, even Aga Khan has got. There are many trusts which have got. And they give free. Some people charge nominal. So depending upon if you want, you can avail. That's the reason so many poor people can also perform Hajj, alhamdulillah, summa alhamdulillah. Hope that answers the question. Yes, brother.
Zakat should it be given only during Ramadan or can it be given throughout the year? Is there any specific period?
The brother asked the question that can zakat be given any time of the year or should be given only in Ramadan? The basic rule is that any rich person who has more than the nisab level, more than 85 grams of gold, a saving for more than 1 year, then if that saving remains with that person for 1 lunar year, then that is immediately applicable. So moment you have that saving of more than the nisab level, more than 85 grams of gold, if it's for more than 1 year, if you save it, whether the saving starts in January, December or April, the moment it's with you for a period of more than 1 year, then zakat is applicable. And it can be given any time of the year. But for convenience, it will be difficult if I start calculating, this money I have with me. Now, in January I had 1 lakh rupees, in February I had 1.5 lakh rupees, then 50,000 I had in March, then again in April I had 3 lakh rupees. So it's difficult. So for convenience, what we do, that we take any point of the year. And most of the Muslims, they prefer Ramadan because being a holy month, but you can give any time. At the time of Ramadan, in the 1st of Ramadan you decide, or the 5th of Ramadan or 10th of Ramadan, you take a point in the calendar year. It should be lunar calendar. It can't be December or January because that becomes the solar calendar, which are 11 days more. So then you'll be paying zakat less. In 33 years, so you'll pay zakat once less. So take any one point of time. And since we don't follow lunar calendar, Arabic you don't know very well, most of the people take any one date of Ramadan. And at that time, whatever money you have, you give zakat on that. Now, when you do this policy, you remember, you are actually maybe giving a little bit more than what is actually meant to be given. Because if you have a saving more than 1 lunar year, then zakat is applicable. Now, once we calculate, suppose the 1st of Ramadan. So if you have, suppose now 10 lakh rupees saving, so you pay on that. Next Ramadan, you have 20 lakh rupees saving. So here what happens, it can be possible that you may be paying a little bit more zakat, but you can't pay less. You can't pay less because maybe when in this month of Ramadan you have 10 lakh rupees, next 1st of Ramadan you have 20 lakh rupees saving, but actually maybe 5 lakh came just 1 month before. So on that 5 lakh zakat is actually not applicable. So when you take one fixed time of the year, it's a very safe thing. Now, whatever money I have at one particular time of the year, it is very safe that you are at least paying the minimum zakat. You may be paying a little bit more. Means if you are saving 2 lakh rupees, zakat comes to 5,000 rupees. If you have 2 lakh rupees. Or if you have 20 lakh rupees, it comes to 50,000 rupees. So actually maybe 2 lakh rupees came just 1 month before. So zakat is not applicable at that time. It's applicable maybe after 11 months. So you may be paying a little bit more, but you can't pay less. So this is a very safe system. So normally people, they prefer Ramadan, but there's nothing as such. But once you decide, suppose you take the cutting off point as Ramadan. And then suppose the rich people have 1 crore, 2 crore property. So 2 crore property means they have to pay about 5 lakh rupees zakat. So what people normally do, they can even spread it out. Like they know approximately, like my zakat for the next year, this coming year, will be approximately 5 to 6 lakh rupees. So every month I take out 50,000 rupees. You can do. You can pay zakat in advance. You can even pay 2 years in advance. And there's a hadith of the Sahabas. He paid extra zakat. He said that, Ya Rasul, can I pay for next year? Rasul said, yes, you can. So you can even pay for 1 year in advance. Because to take out 5 lakh immediately in 1 month may be difficult. So people even can say that approximately my zakat comes to 5 to 6 lakhs. So every month I take out 50,000 rupees. And the final calculation is done at the cutoff date. Most of the non-Arabs, they prefer the cutoff date being Ramadan because that's easy to calculate. But there's no such rule as you should be in Ramadan. But if you have one particular date, you can be sure that you aren't paying zakat less. You may be paying a little bit more, but not less. So that's the reason people prefer giving charity in the month of Ramadan because thinking they get more sawab. So if they do that, there's no problem. But there's no rule as such that zakat should be given in the month of Ramadan. But if 1 year is over, you can't delay the zakat. Suppose if you're calculating for the full month of Ramadan, if you calculate the first of Ramadan, whatever is due, you should pay immediately. You can't say I'll pay later on. If you have paid in advance, no problem. Then the balance you can pay immediately. So if you say once you calculate, then immediately within a few days or a couple of weeks, you can't delay it too long that, okay, fine, I'll give it after a few months. That's wrong. So that answers the question. Any sisters have any questions?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Is it allowed for a woman to ask a man whom she would be marrying to take her to Hajj as well as her mother to Hajj? And thirdly, although my intention would also be to do it as Hajj tamattu.
So that's the question that is it possible that the man she's going to marry, can she perform Hajj with that man along with the mother? Sister, the person who you have been thinking you'll be marrying or you have been engaged to, yet he is your non-mahram. So Hajj with a non-mahram is totally haram. So you cannot do Hajj that your husband will be your husband maybe after 2 months or 3 months and to perform Hajj together. It's totally haram, sister. He cannot be a mahram. You have to do Hajj with your actual husband after you have done nikah, or with your brother, or with your father, or with your uncle, but you cannot perform Hajj with the person who you will be marrying, or if he's your fiancé. Unless nikah is done, you cannot perform Hajj. Whether it's tamattu, whether it's joint Hajj, whether it's separate Hajj, any type of Hajj, even Umrah you cannot do with your fiancé sister. That's not allowed in Islam. Hope that answers the question. Yes, brother.
Brother, we see that Christian put their name before that, like Saint Peter, Saint Joseph, and Saint Xavier. So what is their ideology behind this?
There's a question that why do some Christians put Saint Joseph, Saint Peter? What is the saint? Saint means a holy person, a person close to God. In the Christendom, they have a particular philosophy that sainthood, now the philosophy that is there, sainthood can only be given by the Pope, and sainthood can only be given to a person after that person expires. And at least you have 2 miracles. So now, the latest saint they want to give is to Saint Mother Teresa. Mother title is for respect, sister you call, mother is more respect. So they want to give sainthood to Mother Teresa also. So after she expired, the bill was passed in the Vatican. So the Pope has identified 1 miracle, which I forgot what the miracle was. So they have to identify 2 miracles. Person who dies is a holy person and close to God. Sainthood is given to a person who is supposed to be saintly person, means close to God. Now in today's age, to bestow a sainthood to anyone can only be given after the person dies. In today's age I'm talking about. After a person dies and after the Pope passes a decree, and then at least 2 miracles to be identified. So the one that is in the process of getting sainthood is Mother Teresa. Any sisters have any questions?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
My question is regarding a person who, we cannot call him an atheist or discuss the entire discussion, to take time. But the basic thing is we gave him certain scientific facts, certain logical facts. And in spite of that, the person was not convinced, and everything got stuck where it comes to faith. So can't we really explain this concept of faith, or is it not possible for us to convince a non-Muslim regarding faith? Because there are many things for which even science does not have answers. So how do we go about? And also I would like to know that how do you keep yourself updated with the scientific innovations or maybe the inventions, new discoveries that are coming up?
So that's 2 questions that we have spoken to an atheist or a person, not atheist, but doesn't believe in Islam. We tried to convince him with scientific facts, archaeological facts. They agreed, but when it comes to faith, we can't answer. How do we convince faith and how to update ourselves with scientific facts? Sister, as regarding faith is concerned, with scientific facts we can talk about faith. But how you go about it is the technique. Therefore, Quran says in Surah Nahl, chapter 16, verse 25, Udu ila sabili rabbika bil hikmah wal maw'izati hasana wajadil billati hasan. Invite all the way of thy Lord with wisdom and beautiful preaching, and argue with them and reason with them in the ways that are best most gracious. So with science, you can prove to them about faith. Now, how you have gone about it is a different technique. So therefore, you have to ask the person who knows. So depending what your discussion is, like faith, I have faith that this is the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's faith. How do you prove it? Then I talk about science. So if you see my video cassette Quran Modern Science or read my book Quran Modern Science, inshallah it shows you a way. This is my faith. It is the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I can even prove it scientifically. So sister, there are many things which you can prove scientifically if you have the knowledge of Quran and science. There are some things, sister, which you cannot prove scientifically. For example, if they say that how can you prove there is life after death? So then you have to use logic. And for that you can refer to my video cassette concept of peace in Islam or my question and answer session where I've proved how to logically prove about the concept of hereafter. One of the simple ways is that suppose the Quran speaks about 100 things, for example, out of which 80% of whatever the Quran has spoken, today we have come to know that it is established scientific fact. The other 20% about science what the Quran speaks, it is ambiguous, neither right, neither wrong. So my logic says when 80% is 100% correct and the remaining 20% neither right, neither wrong, ambiguous, so my logic says that inshallah, even this 20% will be right. It's not a blind belief, it's a logical belief of the 20% which is ambiguous. Science hasn't proved it right, neither wrong. For example, the existence of jinn, about angels, about hereafter. Science hasn't proved. Neither has science proved that it is wrong. So my logic says that inshallah even this will be right. So this is one way of proving. And the other way of proving is going to logical aspect, which if you see my video cassette, sister. So depends what faith you're talking about. Are you talking about faith in Quran? Are you talking faith in Allah? How to prove about Allah? If you see my video cassette, is the Quran God's word? So faith and different things. Faith in Allah, faith in the messengers, faith in the angels, faith in the hereafter. So sister, depending on each faith, maybe the style how you convince differs. So if you see my video cassette, alhamdulillah, most of the major points of faith have been covered in my very different cassette, sister. And regarding the second question, that how can you update yourself with scientific knowledge, etc. Sister, you have to read the scientific journals and the books. So if you read the scientific books, there are several scientific books coming out every month, weekly, daily there are books coming out on science. Read that. Or, if time doesn't permit to read all, then you can read those books which are being written by Muslims on compatibility. You know, there are many books which come out, if not daily, then at least once a month or once a fortnight. There are books coming out at least on some aspects of Quran and science. There are journals. For example, Saudi Arabia, there's a journal, the name is Ijaz Ilm, Saudi Arabia, which talks only about Islam and science, Quran and science, nothing else. The journalists, just read that journal and you get updated. There are journals in Arabic, there are journals in English. There are scientific journals, Muslim Science Journal, coming out from India, from Aligarh. I think it comes out once in 6 months, if I'm not mistaken. So there are mass, MAs come by mass. So there are journals coming out. You read these journals, you update it with knowledge, and you even come to know what is spoken. So this is a shortcut, only reading Muslim journals. If you have more time, you can read the other journal and think for yourself what verses of the Quran match, and you can come out with new things yourself, inshallah. Hope that answers the question, sister. وآخر الدعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين.
فيا رب إنك أنت السلام منك السلام إليك السلام فيا رب إنك أنت السلام منك السلام إليك السلام لأمرك يرجع أمر